You can still hear me. The Smith Center is hosting a watch party for the Final Four matchup against Duke Saturday night. Admission is free. Parking is just $5. There's going to be all kinds of monitors inside. I'm going to step out of the picture because perfect timing. The team has just made its way through that line, and they are boarding the bus right now. We are on Glenwood and Blue Ridge, and the reason we picked this spot is if you look behind me, this intersection doesn't look like much, but it's actually really dangerous because all four ways the traffic lights are out, and cars some of them are noticing and slowing down. Others are just going right through without even stopping. These pages list hundreds and hundreds of traffic violations. They include speeding, failure to yield, and expired registration card. They total 767 cases, all heard today. In my hands right now are 13 pages worth of Raleigh construction projects, which the city compiled back in July. They list dozens and dozens of 2020 projects and the contact information for project managers.
What would you say was the number one lesson they learned?
I think the number one thing they learned is that you don't need college necessarily to advance your career. You don't need to go 4 years, 6 years, 8 years to get that master's, that graduate school degree, doctors, to be somebody. It showed them today that they can go to a trade school. They can pick up skills like that. They can do things like they did today in order to help them in the future. College is not the end-all be-all. Yeah, people from all over the state really came out here to pay their final respects to Sergeant Matthew Fishman, who was killed serving in the line of duty in Dudley on Monday following a 9-hour standoff. It was supposed to be just a routine service. Just over 10 seconds left. It is absolutely crazy in here. So much nervous energy. Let's see if this free throw goes in. It does not. There are literally seconds left. UNC has the ball. They were just fouled. It looks like they're going to go back to the line.
And what can you tell us? What are homeowners saying to do right now before possible severe weather?
Siobhan, great question. And actually a spokesperson or salesperson with On Top says before the storm hits to check your attic for any daylight that might be coming through. That would indicate missing shingles and entryways for water. And after the storm, check your attic one more time. Look for possible holes in a pipe boot or exhaust bin. Final question, that trophy, when it's placed in this building, and when you look at it for years to come, what are you going to be thinking about?
Well, it was a great time down there. I mean, the people in San Diego were fantastic. The bull reps were awesome. You know, the experience for these guys.
This is the moment history was made.
It was more amazing than I ever thought possible.
In May, Andrea Peak became the first person with ALS to complete a marathon in all 50 states.
The day after my 8th anniversary with ALS, I did my fitness marathon.
It would be an understatement to say she's defied the odds. Doctors told Pete she only had 2 to 5 years to live after she was diagnosed in 2014.
I know that I am an anomaly, and hopefully there are others out there who will see my story and realize that their life isn't over.
We talked to Andrea last August as she prepared for marathons 37 and 38.
I owe you a yo-yo today.
She showed us how she uses Google technology to keep track of how ALS has affected her voice. Nearly a year later, things have slowly gotten worse.
As strong as I am, I can tell that my voice is getting slower.
But she says even with her voice slowing down and her legs continuing to weaken, her core remains strong. These days, she's on her trike a bit less, taking a break from those 50 marathons in 50 states, and uses this device to monitor her diaphragm. She needs to stay strong because she has a lot ahead.
We're doing a documentary, and I am writing a memoir.
The working title for her book is Hope Fights Back. She hopes her story about completing 50 marathons with ALS will inspire others living with the same disease.
I don't want fear rule how I live my life, and so I said I'm going to take on the greatest role I can think of, which was a marathon in all 50 states.
It's as loud as it is dangerous.
You have to stand back from the tracks. You can't be trying to push the light.
The sounds, the signs, the flashing lights, they're all meant to let drivers know what's ahead at this Morrisville crossing.
It's really clearly sign marked. It's a lot less dangerous than it was years ago.
But if these markings don't grab your attention, maybe this one
Oh, wow.
will.
It's horrible. It's sad. It really is.
November 30th, 2019.
Driver crossed over 54, went around the island that you see out here, and consequently went on the railroad tracks and got stuck.
Luckily, everyone made it out of the car. What's left from that violent accident has made its way back to the scene.
I take it as a good warning.
This time, as a reminder.
Get drivers to notice this is what happens when a car gets hit by a train.
It's part of Operation Respect the Tracks, a traffic safety campaign pushing for 0 crashes in 2020. Officials say there have been 3 car versus train accidents at this crossing since 2013, 2 of them fatal.
Drivers need to understand that trains have the right of way. Trains will always win.
But perhaps no piece of advice is as good as the one sitting in front of these drivers' eyes.
It's a good reminder not to play around with the railroad tracks.
Hi, you looking for a paper?
If you are, you've come to the right place.
We printed 30,000 papers today.
All day Monday, Daily Tar Heel staff doing what they can to keep up with the incredible demand for their paper.
When we're thinking about these special papers, we kind of think of them as a keepsake that people are going to want for a while. And I mean, we haven't been to a championship game since 2017, so it is kind of historic.
Pravina Samasundaram
How many are you looking for?
is the school paper's editor-in-chief.
It's been great. I think this is like an unimaginable kind of run that I wanted to have on my senior year. Like, this is my bucket list.
Samasundaram says she has barely slept all week.
I would stay up as long as I need to for these papers.
When the buzzer sounded Saturday night in New Orleans and the Tar Heels came out victorious, her staff went to work immediately.
We all kind of hopped on a Zoom call to discuss what the paper would look like. Caleb and RJ defeating doubt together is our headline.
Inside, 8 pages of only UNC basketball.
And this is the last column. It's about Hubert Davis and what this rivalry means, because obviously it was a super big game, the first time UNC and Duke met in March Madness.
Every student was allowed 1 free paper Monday, just $1 for an extra. If the Tar Heels win tonight, you can bet Samasundaram and her staff will be back in the middle of campus Tuesday, passing out another piece of history.
Obviously the game's around 9 today, so once the game's over, we'll probably be spending the whole night making the paper for tomorrow. So if we win, we'll have one.